Okay, my apologies, everyone. Sorry so much for the technical difficulties, the echoes, and the low volume. Really do appreciate your patience. So we'll be breaking up here into our own virtual section. I do have a list of discussion questions that I think we can tackle since we have Carlos on the line and we have also our industry representation here in person. Um, this is a hybrid session, so what we talk about here in this next 40 minutes, we'll be bringing together to everyone at the round table here. So I'll drop the first discussion question, and then we can maybe raise hands and start to talk about what we can do as an industry slash educational pipeline here. Let me go ahead and drop the first one in. Are there any questions that I can answer while I do that? I think we're good. Okay, cool. Appreciate your patience once again. Okay, so the first question is this. How can we collaboratively design a system, a new front door that intentionally creates professional networks from our diverse community college students and bypasses the gatekeepers? Um, any ideas on how we can create a new kind of pipeline that serves our diverse community college students?
I can go first.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think really it comes down to this idea of building their networks. And a lot of people, I mean, use networking in this kind of sort of like a very, I don't know, stereotypical way, but so much of animation and entertainment is really built on relationships. And I mean, like, that's a better way to phrase it than networking because you really want these students to go out there and start making those connections themselves, whether it's at a local convention where they're selling zines and pins and patches or whatever, or if it's something big like Lightbox Expo, which is coming up in October. But I think the onus and something that one of my professors forced me to do when I was in school is like go out there and just build your network with at least 20 people, whether they work in live action, gaming, VFX, animation, whatever it is, because you never know how one of those connections will build on the rest of those connections that you will have. And it's like a tree where the tree might go in a completely different direction that you're thinking, but that one connection can end up going back toward the general direction that you're going. And so I think really it's telling these students that even though you're in community college, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have the same sort of pool as like somebody who's going to like a fancy, like NYU for film school or Cal Arts for animation. Like you still are a human being, and people in any position in the industry always want to help others, and they want to build those they want to give back. And so they want, if you're there and you're talking to an artist, an animator, a filmmaker, they want to help you, especially if you're talking to them in person, and they want to know how they can give open a door for you, whether it's the door is going to open for live action animation, doesn't really matter. Like they're going to see who they know within their network to try to help you. And I think this idea that the students have to find a way through the school. I mean, they can, but I think that's one of the avenues. But the avenue that I've seen the work that works the best and the most efficient is one avenue where you're telling them like go out there and make these connections. Like that should be mandatory for a lot of schools. It's like build those connections with the people in the industry and go find all of the different venues, the different conventions, expos that you can go and make those connections, because that's how you're ultimately going to build your own doors and your own gateways to the studios and the jobs that you want.
And just to kind of let everyone know, I am taking physical notes here on a big old post-it so that our conversation can be also translated to the in-person discussion that's happening. I have a hand raised.
Hi there. Should I introduce myself? I don't know. Um, I'm Jeanette, and I'm the president of the Animation Guild, which is an IATSE local 839. I'm also an adjunct professor at West Los Angeles College, and I'm a working animation director. Like I've worked on a lot of TV shows. I just wanted to kind of reinforce what Carlos said. And one thing that we're doing with our classes, I go to a lot of local events. There's a ton of like screenings that professionals and people that make their own stuff, like short screenings. There's one that's monthly that's called Silver Lake Shorts that I attend almost monthly. Sony has been a sponsor for them before, as also the Animation Guild. And you can also anyone who they run things from like 10 seconds up to like 10 minutes. So, and they're pretty much open to anybody. Anybody can submit. A lot of the creators go to that. It's a great place to network. There's a lot of industry professionals there and a lot of development executives and recruiters that go. Um, there's several other types of animation screenings like that. So we tried as I try to list all of the different events going on that I like to go to and that I know about to my students and try to encourage them to go. Um, Silver Lake Shorts is free. Some of them are very low cost. There's Heavy Manners Library. They do a ton of like different types of events, even life drawing, and a lot of industry professionals take advantage of that too. So that's how I got my first job. I was taking a casual non-credit life drawing class at Glendale Community College and meeting the other people there. And someone said, "Oh, hey, this studio is hiring," and I got my first job on Futurama, like the first season, because of that connection. I didn't go to CalArts. I got a sculpture degree in Austin. I'm just what Carlos said is totally true, and it's been my own personal experience. And I encourage a lot of our new union members, but there's also a lot of people that I try to reach out to that aren't union because, the way to get into our union is to get a job. So I think we should be open to all, and I don't think that this industry. I don't think you need to get $200,000 in debt to get a job in this industry. That's all I got to say.
Well said. No, thank you very much for your additions. I've taken notes. I see another hand.
Hi, um, I'm Jennifer, and I absolutely agree with what Jeanette and Carlos were saying. I may have missed out on some of what you were saying though, Carlos. I have looked at the Sony internship offerings, and it looks like Sony is like on the forefront of helping young people get into animation. I just did a 2 hour long search for jobs for students, and Sony was actually the best for providing, young people opportunities. I'm just curious as to are the internships at Sony Animation, are those paid internships or non-paid? I
Uh,
think paid,
yeah,
right?
they're paid and they're run through our Sony Pictures Entertainment side. And so we're actively trying to actually build out ones that are more for the creative departments. But right now, all the ones that we have are more for our overhead departments, like creative development or like finance or legal or marketing. But yeah, they are paid, and we're trying to build it out. But yeah, to your point, we're trying to actively, and I think one of the things that we did recently was it's not just open toward people within school, but I think it's also within a year of graduating as well.
That's wonderful.
Where you know, whether it's graduating with an associate's or graduating with a bachelor's, like we don't differentiate. We're just looking for, again, it comes down to this idea of like, if we can see it in your cover letter and your resume that this is what you're really passionate about, like that's going to speak volumes. And it's not about the fanciest school that you went to or how much money you have in your, you know, your pocket or whatever. It's like we want those driven individuals who are going to come and see this as an opportunity to really kind of thrive in the world that they really want to be in. So yeah, so we're trying. I mean, we're, you know, it's a difficult job market out there. So hopefully trying to open those doors for those people to land their dream jobs.
Right. And the creative jobs would be obviously the ones that we're hoping to place. I'm at West LA as well. And we really want to help creative, artistic people who are underrepresented to get jobs as artists, as creative people. So, and obviously the paid part of this is important because those people need money. They can't just
Yeah,
sit back and do this for free. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Carlos.
yeah, you're very welcome.
That's excellent to hear. Especially that leads us into the next question that I have actually. It's about how do we make this an industry standard, like you know, internships that are paid, that provide equity, provide an entry level you know, experience. We can move into that, but also I see a hand here, David. You're welcome to come on.
Hey guys, you hear me? Let me see if I can get my camera off.
We can hear you.
Okay, I was trying to. All right, I don't know if my lighting is good, but my name is David Hall, I'm the career education specialist here at Santa Monica College. Work out of the Center for Media and Design. But I just wanted to piggyback on some of the wonderful things that Carlos was mentioning, and I think, you know, for me as a professional, I try to encourage our students to build that LinkedIn, you know, page and start really networking with associations and shooting out individual email introductions to, you know, people like Carlos via LinkedIn, and also getting out in the public and try to overcome the shyness and the introvertness because, you know, they're fabulous creators and producers that they can create the product. But I think sometimes dealing with public, you know, at an early age is something you have to kind of build up to. I know I was in college, I wasn't like the most, you know, extroverted person until I got older and got into professional industry. So I just wanted to, you know, piggyback on what Carlos mentioned and Jennifer, and just, you know, say I think one way we can really promote, you know, a new system for students is to try to encourage them to get out in the public and build that network. And one more thing, like every year the Center for Media Design, we have a showcase where we showcase all of our students' work throughout the year. And we try on our end as faculty and well, I'm not a faculty, but I'm classified. We try to get more industry leaders and professional people to this event where it's, you know, hundreds of people to try to see the kind of work that these students are actually producing so that down the road when they're done, you know, those students and the professional people can actually maybe reconnect down the road, you know, via email or relationship built on platforms like what we did, like the showcase I mentioned. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there, and thank you, Carlos, for really, you know, bringing that in because that's really important. Even I still, even though I have over 1,000 plus contacts, I still build them. I still work on them every day. Every day, it's an ongoing situation when it comes to building some type of relationship and never ends. So thank you.
This is a great conversation. And I think if we can address also just, you know, the next question here. I mean, we've already done a great job and Sony's leading the way, but Carlos, maybe there's a way that or a perspective that you can share that how do we make this an industry standard, like something that other employers might, you know, follow suit on. It seems like Sony's doing an excellent job of creating on-ramps. You know, what's the secret sauce maybe that we can disseminate here?
Honestly, it really comes down as a business directive. I think it has to be a total viewpoint shift when it comes for businesses to see growing talent as part of their responsibility in the industry. So I really don't know if there's a secret sauce. I think it's about having leaders in the industry who are there, advocating for talent that is junior and underdeveloped, and you still have to put in the time. But I mean, you see the success in so much of that, where there's a lot of placement with interns and trainees and apprentices. When I was at DreamWorks, I saw that tremendously. When I was at Netflix and Nickelodeon, I saw that as well. It's like they're so like you grow this talent, and you see it continue to just get better and better in the industry. And ultimately, the people who grow the talent, the one thing that they always fear is like, well, what if they leave and like go to another studio? But ultimately, like they always have a soft spot for the place that gave them their chance, the place that gave them that internship opportunity. And so I mean, I really don't know if there's a secret sauce, but it's like you have to showcase to these other studios, and companies, and production houses, that it's like if you grow these people, that there will be this sort of instilled loyalty where they're always going to try to help out or come back, or they may leave to another opportunity, but when they come back, they'll come back even stronger, and they'll have this kind of idea of like, this is the place that was home, this is the place that gave me my first shot, this is the place that cared, and when no one else would give me the time of day. So yeah, I don't know if it's yeah, like if it's really like it's a harder business sort of goal, because you have so many other people that have a say with how these internship or early career programs run, and always it's usually comes out of the cost of the studio to run these. And so it's in order for it to sort of have like an ROI, you have to just set it in a mindset of like, yeah, they may leave, but you're building this sort of brand loyalty to for some of these students who are going to come back and always speak fondly of this place, or tell people like, yeah, you should go there, or you should definitely, like, this is a great studio to be at, and they care a lot. So all of that. I don't know if that really helps. I'm like, I feel
No, it
like
definitely does. It definitely does. I mean, no, I think your perspective is something that gives us a lot of optimism for the future. Because no, the fact that you guys see it as growing the talent as a responsibility, but then seeing the positive feedback of that, that I feel like that's really what we're trying to develop here. And maybe there isn't a secret sauce, but it comes, I guess, from individuals like yourself. Sabrina, I see you have a hand raised. You're welcome to jump in.
Hi, I'm Sabrina Lasag. I'm under the weather, so my camera's off, but I'm the CEO and founder of Extinguished Youth. We're a TV, film, and literary holdings company with various branches focused on disrupting the creator economy for Gen Z specifically. So I'm 24 and started the company when I was 18. And what's worked for us is actually registering with the statewide recognized internship programs where businesses that intend to hire ages 18 through 24 in California can actually train individuals for a position, and the state will pay them up to 100 hours which at $17, which is per hour, which is low. And what we did to actually increase that was utilize our social media platform to gain internship and partnerships with brand deals. But rather than traditional brand deals, we partnered where brands would actually match what our state payment is. So we had other brands committing to putting another $17 on top of that $17. Then another brand came in and put another $17 for each of these individuals, which grew and grew over the past 5 years. And we were actually able to see consistency in these individuals growing and setting them up with jobs in the creator economy space, and along with these brands coming in to now match and partner with us on this program.
No, that's awesome to hear. So you're saying that these brand deals were able to, in a way, like build upon what you were getting from the state to a point where you could onboard these individuals and pay them a living wage. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. So that's kind of what's worked for us is finding ways where we're disrupting the creator economy space by posting in more traditional, I guess, influencer ways, sharing our journey of our film and TV kind of behind the scenes. So we do a lot of posting of like, come to set with me. And we have these individuals kind of being trained of how they can now post for themselves and get brand deals and without the rather than serving as a traditional social media agency and everything or taking brand deals for ourselves, we kind of split that and utilize that income and revenue to spread amongst the job and match the dollars that come in from the California state so that it became a livable wage instead of just a minimum wage internship.
That's huge. That's huge. That's awesome to hear too. Yeah, that's one of the things that our advisory um, brought into focus was the fact that a lot of our entry level positions, you know, on ramps onto into the industry fall way below the living wage. With the living wage here in LA is around $28 an hour, and so, you know, according to account for all the costs of transportation and food and all and living. So that's awesome to hear, and an excellent way to disrupt the economy, and to find solutions to these problems. Thank you for sharing. So I have another question here. This one probably for you, Carlos. In terms of what would make it better, a better focus or a better way to engage for our community college? How can our community college representatives organize to be a better, point of contact for you? Is there maybe like a way we could have specific person to person, or is it more, organization to organization? What do you think would be the most effective way to connect?
Something that I saw that College of the Canyons did that I thought was really effective was actually set up an animation festival, or I mean, it could be literally entertainment festival, it doesn't have to be specific to animation. But what was really interesting about the way that they set it up is that they invited all sorts of studios, representatives, agents, like everybody to just kind of go. They almost set it up as like a conference as well, where it was like there was parts of the day that had student films being screened, and then there's part of the day where they were doing talks, and then some of them were more like education focused where it's like let's talk specifically about like what your resume should look like, and then some of them were just general like tell us about like how an animated thing is made. And so I really like that because it created a space where you're coming not just yourself, but you're also coming with a like-minded experienced people who are all coming to kind of share their knowledge. And so I think this helped develop this idea of, when you're coming, you're coming there with a purpose and a grander, like they're kind of trying to build something there. It's not just one class, it's not just one department. It's like a larger thing where everybody's kind of coming together and building this. And I saw that work really well because I saw a lot of people that I've known in the industry for a while, and I was like, oh, you like I ran into them, and I didn't think that they would show up, but they were also there, and so I think it kind of spoke to like the pool that this college had, just to kind of build. They were like, we will take anybody who worked, like even if you're adjacent to animation or entertainment. They were like pulling people to just be like, let us know what like what topic you want to talk about, and we'll find a space for you. Because I think when you open it up in that way, you're creating a more a grander sense of community, which ultimately is what the animation industry is. It's a community. It's not just one person trying to do one thing by themselves. And when you start these conversations and you're pulling all these people together, what you're doing is not just giving this sort of a space for students to be, but you're also showing them that this isn't a industry where you're by yourself. This is an industry where you have friends who are writers, friends who are filmmakers, friends who like to work with cameras, friends who like to animate, and all of that builds together to this grander sense of what the industry is. So I think when community colleges can do stuff like that, it creates this bigger sense that like, oh, like I want to be part of this. I want to help out this school because they're doing something where they're, they have somebody from Nickelodeon and they have somebody from Disney and they have, like, and so you're even if that one person is just, an artist at a studio, or just like, somebody who works in finance at Disney, it doesn't matter, because what you're doing is you're showcasing that there's so many other jobs versus just the one thing of being, going back to like, you're an actor, you're a director, and for animation it's you're an animator, and like you're an artist. Like that's the only jobs that people think of. So you want to showcase that there's more, and you want to really build this sense of like, that look at what we're doing, and look at all the jobs that are here, and like look at all the people that we're bringing to talk, to just speak about this, and that helps create this sense of like, oh wow, like they're doing something that's very specific to what I also do in the industry, and how can I help? How can I give back?
That's a perfect example, Carlos. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's also a sustainable model too, right? I mean, if we're setting up festivals at each of these community colleges and inviting industry, not only is it a showcase, but then it's a collaboration, it's a relationship building. I think that's a fantastic way to build that bridge. And it's a model I think everyone can employ. So no, I think that's a great call out. Any other maybe thoughts or perspectives, maybe from, the college's perspective, like any maybe hurdles or challenges that you find connecting with industry?
I would say one hurdle, hi Jennifer again, is just finding the right people to connect with and making sure that they are vetted, so that if we want to reach out and provide an internship, that we feel that the student will benefit from the internship, and that, everything will be safe for that student. So that's something we've been looking at. Actually, we just had a meeting about it yesterday. So
Yeah, I would like to add, maybe for me, just trying to identify ways to add value to the potential employer or partner. Because, sometimes, when you're in the middle of business engagement, it's always the ask, right? But I've learned in my so many years of experience, people are more open to engage or work with schools if you can add some form of value. And right now at this moment, I'm trying to be more creative. Of course, we want internships or work-based learning opportunities for our students, but how can we convert that into like a really solid value that employers can say, oh, you know what, we can actually use that for sure. We'll be happy to engage and do it on a annual basis, right, or ongoing basis. So for me, it's just trying to identify creative ways to add value to future partners or corporation that's going to deal with our college.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's a two-way relationship, right? Understanding that we want to place students, we want to give opportunity to students, but also that employers have a lot on their plate as well, and so creating that value, being open to innovations, right? Definitely, that's an important mindset to have, um, and definitely to keep in mind. Let's see. Have a couple more discussion questions that might stimulate some thoughts. This one revolves around the curricula itself. We talk about the shifting landscape in this industry, how there's a dichotomy between the theatrical, the streaming, and then not to mention also all of the live events, themed events, that kind of is taking off as well within this industry. Is there maybe places within the curriculum, and this could be for Carlos or our faculty here as well? Is there places in the curriculum where we maybe could adjust or close these gaps? Any gaps that we see specifically within curriculum?
Hi guys, I'll speak to that really quickly. My name's Annie Gregorin with PCC, and really just a comment about that process is the length of time it takes to get curriculum approved and up and running is a challenge in an environment where technology changes so quickly. And so you kind of have to write it in such a way that it can adapt or be, you know, changeable, but also adhere to the curriculum process. So if anybody has any insider suggestions with that, I'd appreciate it.
I would actually like to agree with you, Annie. That is an issue that we face at West LA College as well. And also making sure that any technology that's purchased is going to be viable within the next 2 or 3 years. Because if a school is going to spend a lot of money on a technology that's being taught and then 2 years down the line it's obsolete, that's an issue. And so one thing, one model I have been sort of exploring with some people in the virtual production space is, can we rent equipment? So if we write curriculum and then we rent equipment or we have the equipment donated, that could work really well. But we've been running up against roadblocks, being told that that we can't, that it's hard to rent equipment, or it's hard, or it takes a year just to process the paperwork for donations. So I'm really, I would love some clarity about that. There's so many wonderful classes that we want to teach at West, but there are a lot of roadblocks that we're up against, and it is something that I think should be explored in a deeper way. And I would love to explore that with you, Annie, because it is quite a roadblock, especially with technology. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the feedback, Jennifer. That's super helpful. We'll have to connect and
Yes,
talk about it.
I'll give you my email address.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No, it's an important roadblock to address. I mean, I bring this up because in some of the other sessions that we've had in different industries, healthcare, for example, is another fast moving industry with a lot of demand, a lot of shifting elements. And so curricula is also another topic of discussion. How do we stay afloat? How do we stay ahead of the curve? How are we making investments in technology that are lasting more than 2 years? And any insights that we can dive into here is great. Obviously we're not necessarily solving all of the issues, but we want to maybe tackle as many as we can. So thank you for your input. And if anyone else has any input as well, happy to cede the floor. Okay, so I think we can talk a little bit more about some of these soft skills and maybe technical skills. We mentioned, and Carlos, you had said it earlier, but maybe we can revisit it. What are some of the soft skills that you'd like to see from your candidates or the people that are coming into your industry? That way I can maybe write it down and we can put pen to paper here.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, a lot of the soft skills are being curious, really wanting to learn more, and really kind of diving in regards to like how the industry works, how the role works, how the overall grand scheme of things work. It's also having a lot of humility and kind of coming in with this like mindset of like, I'm here to learn and I'm here to kind of absorb all the information from all the people that are around me. Being passionate, I think, is a huge thing within the industry. People really kind of hone in on those passionate individuals who want to do something, even if they're working in a specific role, like maybe something non-creative, like production assistant, but they see that this person's like every day they're drawing and they're designing or they're painting, that passion. is often recognized by the leaders within their productions, at the studio, and being like, "Wow, I see you drawing every day. I see you painting every day. Yeah, I know you're in production, but do you want to be an artist?" All of that. Those are these kind of skills where it's like you're showcasing, even though it may not be spoken, you're showcasing that you have this sort of drive of like, I want to do this. I really want to work in this specific field, or the specific role. And yeah, I would say some of the other things are kind of basic, just doing good work, making sure that you're somebody who is following up, you're checking in on assignments. I mean, it's very kind of like sort of basic job 101 stuff, but you'd be surprised how many people come through the internships and don't even like, they see it as just a time to kind of like goof off and like be hanging around with friends. And so it's like you have to instill this idea of like, it's still, at the end of the day, it's still a job, and there's people here who are doing this professionally, and you want to make sure that you're showing up professionally. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're coming in with button up shirts and you're doing this really kind of polished, super business person, impression. It just means that you're coming in and you're giving it your all, you're giving it your best kind of shot. You're asking how you can go above and beyond. You're asking, for feedback. You're asking for ways that you can improve on the work that you did. And the more that you can showcase that to the people who are not just your manager or your internship leader or whoever is sort of running, the program, but just everybody. I think that speaks volume. There's so many interns that I've met when I was in like, even like 1 or 2 years into my career, where like I saw them and I knew right away, like, this person is going to go so far because of the way that they're presenting themselves. And yeah, they were just wearing t-shirts and jeans. They weren't like a polished business professional, but they were like super kind and humble. They're asking all the right questions. They were curious, they were hungry. They were like, how did you get there? They're like, I know you're only a year into your career, but like, I want to be in that next step too. And so it's all of these like sort of unspoken soft skills that I really wish that there was like a class that was taught in every community college about like how to be a business professional. And that isn't necessarily how to look like a business professional. It's like how to actually present yourself as a professional in the industry, and also know how to approach people and how to be uh you know uh, be kind and humble and smart and thoughtful and passionate and all of that. And so it's a hard combination of things to teach somebody, but I think planting those seeds when they're younger and in community college help a lot when they get into those roles, and now all of a sudden they kind of know like, oh, okay, I have to act this certain way, or be this certain way. But it doesn't necessarily mean like becoming a whole different person. It just means like, how do you present yourself to really kind of shine.
Thank you for that, Carlos. I wrote about like 5 pages of notes here, so thank you so much for all that. No, I mean, and this is good stuff to put pen to paper and really like commit to memory, because we see it through all the industries, but hearing it again from our industry partner, it's makes it even more paramount. I see a hand, Jennifer. Would you like to add?
Yeah, Carlos, I really appreciate everything you just said, and I'm just wondering, for quite a while, West has been partnered with an organization. Unfortunately, we're not partnered anymore, but we would always stress that the most important things, soft skills, are to show up early, to have a good attitude, and to work hard.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Carlos?
100%. Yeah. And I think it's one of those things where, and I think you can also add to that, just, and don't be blatant about doing those things. Cause I think sometimes people are like, well, I drove 2 hours this morning to be here right on time. And it's like, I think there was a point in my career where I was driving from Riverside, all the way to Nickelodeon every day, and it was a almost 3 hour commute, both going there and coming back. So 6 hours total. I was in traffic, and it wasn't until and I was always there like I think around 8:50 or 8:55, right before like 9. right at my desk. And I remember one of my production managers asked me, and they're like, where are you coming in from? Like, how are you always here like right on time? And then I told her, and she was just like, you've been doing that for the past 6 months. And I was like, yeah, like I'm just like, this is what I committed to. Like I want to make sure that I'm showing up on early, but I was never, and I think the fact that like I never complained about my commute. I never said anything. And the moment that she realized how like the sacrifice I was making every morning to like leave at like 5 a.m. so that way I could get there right on time. Like I think she recognized that, and she was like, you know, if you need to come in later, it's totally fine. You don't have to, kill yourself. And so I think it's one of those things where you have to tell the students, it's like, that you're gonna make sacrifices, and there are gonna be things that are gonna suck about your job. They're not gonna be, no job is ever perfect, but the people who rise up to those tops and rise up and continue like sort of working the ladder are those ones who are humble about it, and just want to continue making great impressions and good work, and are never complaining and have a positive attitude about everything, because I think that speaks volumes, especially in an industry where things aren't always the best and things might change at a whim, and your whole production might go back to square one, and you're stuck in a situation where it's not a pleasant environment. And so yeah, so I mean, going back to what you just said, those three things are paramount. I think those are the things that really kind of help any student shine in the industry.
Carlos, hearing you talk, I wrote one more down, a commitment, because that's commitment right there. The driving 3 hours both ways to, to show up and do your best. That's another soft skill that I think, really shines through. So really well said. And I think we're running into the last couple of minutes here. So, but absolutely, Jeanette.
Yeah, I just just based off what Carlos said, I do think it's important to be upfront about what how the industry is, like how it can be kind of unstable, and strategies on how to protect yourself and prepare yourself for that, like saving your money and keeping up that network and keeping developing your skills the entire time. Uh, so work in job security into those soft skills where you're, or personal security, so that you're planning accordingly to survive the industry, because you're going to need to love it to survive.
100%.
Very well said. Very well said. Any last minute thoughts? I'll be carrying you guys back to our circle over there, and then I'll be presenting what I've written down from our discussion.
It sounds so nice that you're carrying us over.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to handle you with care. Handle you with care. And apologies again for earlier technical difficulties. We had you on the screen, and we had you on the laptop. So, we wanted you to be here. Just wires crossed, I guess. But yeah, any last minute thoughts as we finish up our discussion here, and about to convene with the rest of the folk. I think this has been a fantastic discussion here. Let me like a massive sticky note. So been taking notes down. This is exactly what the kind of session and strategic session that we wanted to bring forth. The LARC advisory was an excellent start, a data-driven start. And that's still up on the LARC website as well, for anyone who would like to either watch it or see the recap. And then we'll have a recap too as well for this discussion. I'll put together some kind of document, and then we can also network from there. But I'll go ahead and mute you guys, and then I'll carry you over, and then we'll finish up the discussion.
next actionable step that we can to really stay committed. So my question asked was, how do we contain this? How do we keep this momentum going? How do we build up this partnership? Who are the right people and the contacts to really move this conversation so that it's not just a one-stop conversation, but we can really continue that further and really make that partnership now that we know that we have all the right folks in here. So just that's my ask.
So I'm gonna point to this gentleman here behind these cameras. These are red cameras that have been donated to the organization. These are the kinds of that most people haven't even heard of, yet alone pay for protection. I want to be able to provide these cameras for students to compete, to use these cameras to produce products for 5 minute, 3 minute, whatever. But this man behind the camera here, Kevin A. I want to introduce him. Kevin, if you can tell these good folks a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the idea that you shared and documented for me.
My name's Kevin Aguirre. I'm from Florida. I was born in Miami. I'm a student loan guy. I always say you don't need college to get where I'm glad I went because it gave me the connections that I needed to like get my career to where it's at. But obviously if I didn't have student loans, I'd be a lot happier. But what's it called? I'm just a creative. I'm a filmmaker. I met Wyken at like this open mic show thing, and I was editing a reel for this VFX company that I work with. Like I started my career in just post-production, like editing mostly, but the last 5 years I've been able to direct. I have like a few 6-figure music videos under my belt with Bon Jovi or Young Gravy or Coheed and Cambria, a couple different bands. And I just try to spend all my time doing something creative. I always say he's like 10 years ahead of me, but like the same thing that he was saying, where like if you play the money game, if you can't get it, you do it yourself. That's kind of my mindset too. And yeah, like I'm out here just helping shoot stuff. He helps me shoot like music videos with these cameras as well, since I don't have access to these cameras myself. And then yeah, that's kind of my career path. The idea that he mentioned was a 24-hour film festival that we could do. We could try to make for like a bunch of kids, a bunch of teens that come together that shoot the first project with just an iPhone. And part of the prize that they can get is to shoot their project with an official camera. But if we can shoot something really, really well with an iPhone, which is very possible right now, iPhones get very good footage. Like we'll have to work with audio and stuff, but the footage is gonna be really good. If we can get a good 5-minute story, proof of concept and edit done, then we can prove that the students know what they're doing or the apprentices know what they're doing. And then we can upgrade them to something like this.
So if I may add, going back to your question, how do we continue these partnerships? What I want to ask you guys is, what way can we incentivize your foundations and your programs to basically partner with us to continue to produce content for you guys? Because like we said, we have access to 50K worth of equipment. We just shot 2 hours worth of an amazing conversation. We have content ready to go for you guys. So me personally, I'm not even looking for a monetary aspect of this. I just want a platform to continue to educate young people like myself in this room to be like, hey, this is what happens when adults believe in you enough to let you sit around other young professional people who are making a difference and representing all the amazing communities in LA. So that's what I want to offer you guys. It's like, we want to be incentivized to continue to make content, high quality stuff on a timeline, within budget, whatever you need us. So that's what we want to offer you guys in regards to this kind of content.
I apologize. I have to take off and get to another meeting, but one action item I want to move on the table is to create a list of all of the community college campuses like City. And that's kind of like where this conversation kind of like picked up before the summer. Is that I don't know if anybody has seen the sound stages at City College, but they're a little bit outdated. And so it would be really great they have some great production teachers over there. It'd be really great to get some of those students. I would start with a tour here, and then like again, I think this is a fantastic idea to have a contest, to have a kind of like a gamifier, right? And to get a bunch of crews that are already in classes are doing, I think non-credit is another opportunity for community college students that are already doing media production. And, again, have that list and then figure out, what classes are already going and have those again. And I think it would be really great to have community college students working together with these young people from these great, nonprofits as well, like having mixed crews. I think that's very exciting. So thank you, everyone.
Please take a
One sec,
because I know somebody could actually help you, like keep airmanship.
Okay.
We'll definitely,
Right?
Yeah, there's a couple.
we'll definitely have a networking document for everyone and connection for everyone. So we've been having a fantastic discussion online with our industry representative and also more of our community college faculty. I'd like to took a bunch of notes from that discussion. I'd just like to talk about it a little bit, just so that we're all on the same kind of the same brainwave here. So we were talking about how one of the biggest point of entry is having a strong cover letter and resume. Like this is something that our industry representative really showcased as when you're in your passion, your curiosity, your humility, and your commitment comes through on the page. You definitely can see that, and that makes a big difference. We've also talked about how community college students are not at a disadvantage. That networking comes from, needs to come from both parties, both the community college students and also from industry. But there's a lot of great examples. West LA, for example, they've been hosting screenings. They have faculty that list events within the LA region. And also, like, they invite industries to come and collaborate. And so I think the more events that we do like this, the more events that we can do that showcases the talent, showcases the pipeline, is an excellent way to get started. And our partners at Sony as well, they're one of the forefront in terms of addressing some of the issues that we talked about. They have paid internships that really allow students and entry-level workers to come in and whether it's in business or the creative space, allows them to come in to create their career and also have sustainable wages. So it's just some of the talking points that we had in the discussions. It was very fruitful. It was recorded as well, so we have that for everyone if they would like. Alicia, pass it to you.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think in closing, before we do kind of like a tour, again, our ask was, how do we keep this momentum going? How do we build in the right relationships? Do we meet on a monthly basis? Is there something that we can get committed partners from? Is this something that we can really align together so we can work collaboratively?
Yeah, so I think just kind of hearing the conversation, I didn't hear what the online folks shared, but thank you for sharing the recap. I'll take a look at that. I think it's really important for us to do kind of an ecosystem scan and asset mapping of what's happening. Because just in this space, so much was shared about resources and other, I don't know, consortiums and networks that are trying to do similar things that we talked about here. So I think as a first step, I would love for us to do kind of an ecosystem scan, do an asset map, and then develop a road plan of what this partnership would look like. And simultaneously, we can look at what does it look like in the K-12s as it relates to this programming, how that feeds into the community colleges, and then how do we bring in apprenticeships and work-based learning opportunities as well. But I think as a first step, we gotta align on the resources and the initiatives and funding and who's interested in doing what, because it's, as LA usually is, we're all over the place, right? And so how do we really coordinate our efforts? Because at the end of the day, if people are not utilizing the resources, if they're not aware, then we're not serving them well. Whether it's education, whether it's wraparound services, whatever that may be, or mentorship opportunities, as we've talked about. So I would say that's a good next step. And one of the things with us is we just want to take action. Let's do the first competition. Let's do something and really bring all the partners together.
Quick question, we should also map like who's missing at the table.
Yeah.
It's like IIC, the labor in general, like none of this moves forward unless the labor guys are engaged, right?
Yeah, there's one person in particular through Jeff Burke, UCLA, who represents the unions in dealing with AI. We met her at National Science Foundation event that we did last year, and talked to her about any recent developments and how the unions, all of them, above and below the line, are dealing with AI, because it's killing a lot of the spirit of the young people who haven't even had a chance to decide if they want to get into a union. I'd like to have her potentially do an overview of where the unions are with AI.
Can y'all hear me? I'm the president of the Animation Guild, the IATSE union, and we've been dealing head on with AI. So I don't know if you want me to talk about that now. I don't know if we have time, but I'm willing to talk about it later.
The same person we met at the National Science Foundation? Nope.
No.
But please. Please, yeah, I'd love to hear it, because we want to know what we can do to get ahead of anything that is prevailing winds, conversations that we should know about so that people can draw their own disinformation that is not being, again, regulated.
Well, one thing for sure is that foundational training is still important even with AI, because somebody has to be making those choices and those decisions. You're not going to be just pressing a button and making a AI cartoon. They're going to be like these small tools that you use at every level of production, right? Like it can help you speed up like certain parts of the production line. But the truth is that as students and as somebody young or somebody new coming into the industry, you're still going to have to know like composition and art and like the different softwares. Like how do you make those artistic choices? Because the AI can't do it itself. It still needs like a human hand in there. And there's I always tell people like don't lose hope. Nothing has proven itself yet. And that's the other part of like loving what you do, because if you're an artist, you're an artist. It doesn't matter like what the technology is. And you shouldn't be afraid to experiment with it and try it, because it's important for you to know what is out there. There are thousands of tools out there. And a lot of them have like free versions that you can experiment with. There's tons of stuff out there, but fundamentally, you still have to know the fundamentals of storytelling, and you still have to understand like how to put together visually. Like all of those things are still important. No one off the street is going to be able to grab an AI tool and make a movie. That's just not going to happen. There's the best artists are the ones that are going to rise to the top, and you don't automatically become a best artist because there's AI, right? Artistry and a connection through visuals comes from the human part of it. And I still think that schooling and training and networking is all still going to be valuable, even if these AI tools become more prominent. I don't know, Carlos, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, at Sony, at the end of the day, it's like we're always gonna the artist's hand and the filmmaker's vision is what's gonna drive the movie forward. AI, I don't think we've really discussed if it's a tool at the studio yet, but we're figuring that part out. But I think ultimately, like for us, and to Jeanette's point, is that it's like you still are everybody who works at the studio. If you're in a creative role, you still have to know the fundamentals of drawing and painting and storytelling and writing and all of that. You can't like we're not having something like another tool or something that just does it all for you. So I think ultimately it's the creator's vision, it's the artist's vision, it's the writer's vision that comes to life on screen.
Well said. Well said. Well, I think we can wrap up at this point. I appreciate everyone that's been online. Thank you so much.
I do have one point.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
I had my hand up for quite a while. Sorry. Hi,
Sorry about that.
Quentin from West LA College. There was a gentleman who mentioned that the sound stages at LA City College were outdated. I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah, he left.
Okay, I'm also an adjunct at City, and he's right. And I think that the LACCD colleges should, and Pasadena City and all of us in Southern California should be collaborating. West LA College has a brand new soundstage, which is really, really amazing. It's excellent. And so if we can share that soundstage with everyone else in the Southern California area, I think that would be wonderful. Just hearing what people are saying here in the real meeting, to do some kind of fairs or whatever you were discussing. So I just wanted to offer West LA soundstage up for everybody. Thank you.
I do have one question. What was the first young lady's name?
Jeanette Moreno King.
Jeanette. Yeah. So my question is, and maybe there's not an answer to this yet, but as young people get through certificates of completion, finish their courses of study, how are we connecting them with a labor union for gigs?
So
is that process in place essentially?
The Animation Guild, unlike other IATSE locals, you don't need to put in 30 hours to join that union, right? All you need to do is get hired at a signatory union, and then you're in our union. So if you get that job, you're in. And our IATSE benefits are really good. You get healthcare that travels with you between jobs. You could get 2 pensions, and it takes about 1 year to get vested in one and 5 years to get vested in the second one. So some IATSE locals, the more of the live action locals, you need to put in 30 hours before you can get into the union. In the Animation Guild, you just get hired.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe Kevin, that's something you can work on.
I also have something to say about that. Hi, Jennifer again. I don't know if any of you have heard of Hollywood CPR. Have you heard of Hollywood CPR? So Hollywood CPR is an organization that since 1997 has been connecting students with jobs in the unions. And in 2009, they became a partner with West LA College. And these are primarily students from underserved communities. You can look them up, Hollywood CPR. Right now, they're actually in negotiations with the Los Angeles Community College District to possibly find another home or to work with the district in general. But they've found hundreds, if not thousands of students jobs and union membership in IATSE unions, including grip, set dressing, set lighting, and one other really big one. I can't remember the name. Well, they've done set painting. They've done the core 4 definitely. So
now this is helpful because if we can map this out, it would be very powerful because there's a few organizations that I know at LBC we're working with, and once someone goes through training, apprenticeship, whatever it is, they immediately get placed. Like there's one group that places in right away. It's like literally, like I questioned whether or not it was going to happen or not, but I actually saw the process and they got placed right away. But they're labor union affiliated.
I just sent you the text. I just texted the link to the lady.
I just want to go back to Dr. McKeeshan's point. I think I agree with her, and I was going to say that statement. I think it's crucial to start by asset mapping. A lot of the industry partners as well don't know what the community college can do and how it can be a relationship and collaboration, right? Helpful with industry. But there's a lot of programs that the youth mentioned as well that already exist. Our foundation, a lot of community colleges may not be aware of that. So asset mapping, so we can all collaborate and work together, is a way to start. Go from there and continue. The event that was mentioned, I think that was great as well, to be able to see what college students are learning and what they can bring to the industry. So I think asset mapping for us, I think, that's for a start.
Well, and I also wanted to connect some of the other institutions that are willing to talk about an alignment. I mentioned to Pablo, we have the California State University Entertainment Alliance, the 23 campuses there. We have representatives from USC, UCLA, some private colleges who are all interested in process mapping and looking at some type of online. And getting people closer, especially on the idea of AI, entry level opportunities. So I would definitely like to use this space to host another activity. If people want to see the space, this 23,000 square feet. Across the street is another 22,000 square feet. These facilities are about 6 years old. And, you know, again, they're used liberally by Kevin Hart and his production company.
Kevin, are you able to screen stuff here? Like build a screen and build it?
Oh, yeah. Well, right behind us is 15,000 square feet. They've had screenings, all kinds of activities here. So this is a huge place for us to do anything we can imagine.
Excellent.
We take a tour, we can see what we can do here.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you
Perfect.
again for everything.
And then one other thing for your group in specific, we have our LA's Open campaign. So I'll get you with Eric Conley. We're gonna be developing content, 15, 30, 45 even minute clips that we're gonna basically put the promotion behind to showcase that LA's open. The narrative that was out there is LA's on fire. LA's not on fire. There's two portions of LA that are unincorporated areas that were on fire, right? So that's something that we're gonna be doing, then elevating all of the major events that are coming into the region, starting with NBA All-Star Game in February, the FIFA Super Bowl, and then LA 28, and then uplifting Shop LA, Dine LA, Recover LA, which is a countywide initiative as well. But we need content behind all that. So we have a PR strategist and our director of creative media. I can put you in contact with him because this group here can help facilitate some of that.
I was gonna mention, you mentioned a bunch of opportunities where we can leverage what we just spoke about, our user youth, asset mapping, or those, you know, different events that are coming down the line.
Yeah.
So multiple events. So
Well, we'd love that opportunity. I'm trying to get these guys to use these red cameras, Kevin's editing capabilities, so that we can actually show workflow, work process, and be able to, you know, bring in some more people, see all the sausage is made.
Excellent. Well, we'll end it there. Thank you very much, everyone, for being online. Please expect a follow-up and you know, recap from all the things that we've recorded and had. Thank you so much for our industry partner Carlos for being here with us, and thank you to everyone here for hosting us as well. And we'll convene there and we'll end it there. But thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.